So grief is not reflected on the outside, but it's measured by how an individual feels on the inside. The devastation of a loss can also cause us to question our long-held spiritual beliefs. We hold grief in different parts of our body. Our heart center is our fourth chakra, Anahata chakra, and this is really where a lot of our grief goes to. We also hold grief in our eyes, we hold grief in our throat, we hold grief in our spine, we hold grief in our hips. So if we can unlock those areas, it's a wonderful process to help let go of something. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross wrote a book on death and dying, and she laid out 5 stages of the process that people go through when they're dying. And when we are experiencing grief, we also go through those 5 stages. Each one of these stages is important to go through. Not everybody goes through these stages at the same time. So the first stage is denial. And that is when life makes no sense to us. Basically, we're in a state of shock. Our body goes numb. Denial helps us simply to get through our daily life. We're on an emotional roller coaster, and so by going into denial, it helps with the devastation. It helps to pace our grieving. The second stage is anger. And that's when the reality starts to seep in just a little bit deeper, and you begin to truly feel the loss. Anger is a powerful emotion. It has no limits. There's a lot of strength in anger, and it also can be an anchor for you, giving temporary structure to our day, to our life that feels meaningless at this point. The third stage is bargaining. After a loss, bargaining is like a temporary truce. What if I devote the rest of my life to helping others? Then I can wake up and realize this has all been a bad dream. So we have these what ifs, or if only I had done this statement. Guilt is also bargaining's companion. The next stage is depression. And that's when grief enters a deeper level. It's not a sign of mental illness, but it's an appropriate response to a great loss. The loss of a loved one is a very depressing situation, which is normal. The fifth stage is acceptance. And sometimes that's often confused with, oh, everything's okay now, or everything will be all right now. Which is not true. It's not the case at all. We begin to accept the reality that our loved one is physically gone, or whatever it is that we're grieving is gone. We learn to live with it, we learn to accept, and we learn to readjust. But I believe we become artists when we grieve because we have to reweave the fabric of our life into a wearable design. For me, some of my greatest works and my most creative times have come from the times when I've been grieving. My sister passed away last year after suffering for 5 years with Lou Gehrig's, or ALS. I expressed my grief through drawing what I call Jan's healing birds. I drew one almost every night, and it helped me with the pain of seeing her go through this nasty disease. I would send healing prayers to her as I drew, and it was a meditation for me. I've also been a dancer, choreographer for 30 some odd years now, and some of my best work has come from being deeply rooted in emotional turmoil, such as grief or loss. After my mother passed away a few years ago, I choreographed inside my mother's temple. And during the process of my sister's illness, I did a piece called Remembering Her Beauty, which was performed last year at the International Aerial Dance Festival in Boulder, Colorado. Yoga truly is medicine. When we use postures and pranayama, breathing exercises, we can move through our mental and our emotional stress that grief and loss has caused in our body. Breathing deeply and staying centered in the breath are really a healthy way to release loss.